Okay, I'd like to call the Joint Special School Building Committee special meeting to order, Tuesday, September 17th, 2019. We're in the Nashua High School North Lecture Hall, and it's 6:34. Okay, this is a very short meeting. Would the clerk call the roll?
Alderman Dowd,
Present.
Alderman Wilshire is not here. Alderman Malitzi Goya, not here. Alderman Jettie.
Here.
Alderwoman Clee, not here. Ms. Oden.
Here.
Mr. Guarino is here. Ms. Raymond.
Here.
Mr. Mosher.
I'm here.
Ms. Porter.
Here.
Mr. Mosher is joining us by telephone. Are you by yourself tonight, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Tonight's meeting is just to pay some bills and approve a couple contracts. The architects are not here, the construction manager's not here. This is just the administrative meeting. So the items for discussion and approval, first is the increase to the surveying. Ms. Smith, do you want to?
Yes, we've been working with some of the neighbors around the property in the southwest quadrant and looking for potential egress avenues to leave the site that can be, so it can be done most expeditiously. So there's some additional pieces of property we want to survey. I reached out to Hayner Swanson, who did the first survey for us, and they gave us the price, and I'm recommending that you award the contract to them. And it's for the total amount of $18,800, which includes an extra $2,000 to look at wetland issues.
Okay, what has transpired is Sarah Marchand and myself have talked to two of the landowners on the people that own the land between our school site and Buck Meadow Road to look at an entrance egress to the school site. And in order for us to determine whether we can, we'll definitely need an easement for three-phase power, but we'd be looking potentially for a road with a bicycle path and a sidewalk. So they have to do the surveying to determine where best that road could go, both physically, structurally, and all that. And also, we've told the city has told these both owners that we will give them a copy of the survey at no cost. So we're going to do the survey, we'll see what it says, and go from there. Okay. Mr. Jettie, Alderman Jettie.
So just to clarify, the way it's presented in the letter, it looks like the additional 2,000 is in addition to for the wetland delineation, is in addition to the 16.8. Is that, you said it was
That's
included.
18, that's why it's 18.8, the motion.
Yeah, I suggested 18.8 is the amount.
Oh, I misheard. Thank you.
So the motion is to approve contract to Hayner Swanson, additional amount of money of $18,800. Is there any further discussion? Oh, yeah, Mrs. Raymond?
Just to clarify, we're looking to make, depending on the outcome of these surveys and our discussions with the landowners, the goal perhaps is to make a main entrance to the possible campus off of Buck Meadow, or like an emergency egress.
The thought process at the moment, and of course everything's still in its preliminary
Right.
stages, is to look at that as a main entrance, primary entrance, because both the fire department and police department have said that it expedites their response time. At some point further down the road, not time-wise, further down that road, there will be a new fire station. It's not whether we could build a road there, because I'm told they could build a road over the Alps if they had to. It's how much it would cost.
Right, whether it's practical.
And we don't really see any problems, but we want to get the topography, because there is a drop-off there, but they just want to make sure everything works.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have that additional information when we're making our decisions going forward.
All right. So are you looking for someone to make the motion?
I just did make the motion.
All right. Excellent.
And we don't need a second here.
Fantastic.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to approve increase in the contract to Hayner Swanson for $18,800 to do a survey of land off Buck Meadow Road. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, we need a roll call.
Motion carries. The next is the award of industrial hygienist contract. Do you like this, Mr. Smith?
Yes, you may recall we awarded a contract to another contractor. I don't think I'll name their name just so I'm not besmirching them in any way in public. Back in May or so, it was to do a hazmat survey for all three schools, Elm Street, Fairgrounds, and Pennachuck. I would say that I prodded them quite often to get the Elm Street survey done by August so that it could be included in a report for the architect. And then touched base with them a week ago and found that since then they've done nothing. And even they suggested, well, perhaps you can go to a different bidder and I'll just invoice you for the work I've accomplished to date. So that sounded like a good idea to me. I just as soon cut ties with them. They've done good work for us in the past, so I'm not saying they're a bad company, but they're unable to get the work done this summer, and they indicated they wouldn't be able to get to it until sometime in October, which really pushes our timeline envelope. So I took a look at the bidders list and found a company that they put a bid in back in May, and so I'm recommending we award the balance of the work, which would be to do the hazmat survey at Pennachuck and Fairgrounds, to RPF Environmental, and the amount of $9,400.
Okay, would somebody make a motion to that effect?
So moved. Oh, I'll second.
A voice coming out of the wall?
All right, Mr. Mosher, and I'll second it.
Okay. No, we don't need a second, but
Okay.
that's good.
Great.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to award a contract for industrial hygienist for $9,400 to do the two remaining schools. Any further discussion? Raymond?
Thank you. What's the projected timeline for having a report?
They indicated if I let them know tomorrow, they should have it done by the end of the month.
Oh, fantastic.
So at these two schools, we don't expect we're going to have any surprises.
Well, no one ever
I
expects
phrase it
that.
that way because we never know, but,
That's why they're called surprises.
any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next is the spending authorization for the chair of the joint special. We do this when we have construction going on, not renovation usually, unless it's major. But when we built these two high schools, for example, we had the authorization. You have the information from the Corporation Council. When these high schools were built, he had that authorization, and then after him, Alderman McCarthy had that authorization. So if someone would like to make the motion that he wrote or suggested. Mrs. Oden?
I move that the chairman of the Joint Special School Building Committee be authorized on behalf of the committee to approve the expenditure of up to $50,000 when such expenditure is required for the middle school project, and the timing is such that waiting for the next meeting of the committee will cause undue expense or delay. When the chairman exercises such authority, he shall report such exercise and any relevant factors to the committee at its next meeting.
Okay, everyone understands the motion? At this time, I'd like to amend that to add that Mr. Smith has an authority up to $5,000 during the construction of any new school. Reason being, if he can't get a hold of me, and that's the way the motion will read, if he can't get a hold of me, that he can authorize up to $5,000 to stop from having us to spend a lot of money for a delay that's for something minor. I don't envision he won't be able to get a hold of me, but we had one or two instances where he couldn't get a hold of Mr. McCarthy. So I'd like to make that amendment.
Okay.
Any questions on the amendment? Mr. Alderman Jettie?
Is it, I know that we expect Mr. Smith to be with us for the duration of the project, but should we not refer to it by his title and as opposed to his name?
That's a very good point that a lawyer would bring out. Very good. Yes, we should do it as the title. So I would concur that the motion should read that the, what is your title?
Director of Plant
Director of
Operations.
Plant Operations be authorized up to $5,000 in an emergency if he can't get a hold of the chairman.
I do intend to be here for the duration, but you never know.
Yeah, I hope so. Any other questions on the motion, on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now for the amended motion. Any further discussion on the amended motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we got to pay some bills. Mr. Smith. Oh, you want me to read that?
I just want to make sure you have the additional invoice from Harriman that came in.
Yeah, we have the
29,000.
revised, everybody have the revised financial report from 9/13/19. And actually, I can cover it. The architecture and engineering fees, which is from Harriman at $43,623.33. The traffic study, which is done by Vanessa and Associates for $2,380. And NDT Corporation for the amount of $14,000 for a total of $60,003.33. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the total for Harriman, the first figure that you?
Harriman is $43,623.33.
Okay, and then the grand total?
Grand total is $60,003.33.
Okay, that's where I got messed up.
Any questions? Alderman Jettie.
I only have 14,595 from Harriman. Is it something that was handed out
It was,
before I got here?
Oh, yes, that was revised. Harriman sent us an additional bill in the interim, so we
Okay.
put it on.
which I think it's in our email.
Okay. Yep,
I didn't print it because
okay, thank
I'm
you.
lazy.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, the only other thing for tonight is I do want to explain that action taken by the Board of Aldermen at our last meeting, after a meeting of the budget meeting before that, the mayor and the Board of Aldermen have authorized an additional $1 million for this project. It's not bonded. It's coming out of revenue. And we're just awaiting a number from the CIC committee, which is next Monday, but that's sort of a given. So our new, after Monday, our new amount of money for this current phase is $1.3 million,
Wow.
which is indicated on there. It looks like it's final, Sean.
I jumped the gun, but
Yeah,
yes. I
It's a minor
anticipated.
point, but it does have to go through CIC to get the project on the books. That's just a formality. Yes, Mrs. Raymond.
Thank you. So that money is set aside for phase one, which is our investigative phase.
It's actually not, that $1 million is not phased, it's for the
It's
project.
for the whole project. So
Reduce
it
the
can be,
ultimate bond.
so it can be carried over from
Yeah.
phase to phase.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
It was not delineated as a phase, and just,
The other question I have is, do we have an estimated amount additional that we think that phase one, as far as investigative things will cost?
I'd say I don't anticipate any extra contracts. We've let the last 2 of them tonight. That'll
Okay.
conclude what we need for phase 1. So we're going to be right around $300,000 when it's all said and done, which was our initial amount.
Great. Excellent. And then the last question I have is, when should we expect to be seeing these reports in our packets and then discussing them as a board?
Good question, I'll handle that one.
Okay.
There are several engineering reports. For instance, we got the one on the original geotech, and then we got the reports that we're getting from the vendors are very long, very complex. And even with an engineering degree, I can pick out the high points. We get recommendations from Harriman, who has an engineering valuation. All of that will be coming forth to you in the next couple of weeks. We just got the additional borings tests over the weekend, and they're being evaluated by Harriman right now. I did talk to the construction manager, just happened to run into him at DPW. He's on another project, but the readings were really good for the site. So it will reduce the cost of what we have to do on the site. Just, that's not an official opinion until I get it from Harriman, but just looking at the numbers, one of the borings went down to 35 feet hitting sand, so
Oh,
that's probably in the area of where we could potentially put athletic fields, so they'll just use that to level off the lot.
right, that's shocking for Nashua.
We thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
We were afraid it might be something that might have to be broken up, but no.
So if I understand your response correctly, all of those engineering reports and like the nitty-gritty data goes to Harriman, and then Harriman makes recommendations, but it also goes to us?
If anybody on the joint special wants the actual final report, if you have trouble sleeping at night, you can read it. But the summary from their structural engineer is much more succinct and to the point.
Okay,
So it makes a lot more sense. I mean, you got all of these numbers with soil levels, and all of that goes out for testing, and it's just, I read the whole report on the borings, and it was very boring. Just to tell you. The important part that I noticed was good, so,
okay. Thank you.
yeah, I was concerned about that hill and the hill's sand.
And so the next meeting is next week,
The 26th.
26th, which is a week from tomorrow?
And
No, a week
it's
from
our
Thursday.
intent right now, barring any further delays from vendors, which I don't anticipate, we will have probably the first report from Harriman and the construction manager on the findings.
Okay,
Whether we have the exact final report, we won't know that till next week, but we will have a presentation from the architect on, and what they do is they provide the information to the Joint Special School Building Committee. There will also be an opportunity for the public to comment on the findings. We haven't determined where and when yet, but we'll set up something where people can see the evaluation. The Board of Education will get the review, but the final decision will be made by the Joint Special School Building Committee by statute.
okay,
Because we have the authority to make the decision that goes all the way back to the 1930s, and we're the ones that have the money.
okay.
You just have to go.
I have another meeting. I
Yeah.
have to- Am I all set?
You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 6:53.
Good job.